Hello, welcome. I'm Dan, your friendly fishmonger. We do this every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. That's 9 Eastern for those that might be mountain challenged. Thanks for spending a bit of your Wednesday with us. As always, we'll start off with our shipping report. Then we have a pretty cool giveaway today, a new merch design for the month of April that I think is pretty cool. I think Becca outdid herself on this one, so I'll share that with you. Have some news, and then after that we'll get to your questions and comments and just nerd out on fish and have a little discussion. So that is what is on the docket for this fine Wednesday. Shipping report. Last week's number was 98.17% success rate. I am thrilled to report that this week our success rate is 98.24. So we've jumped up where we've only got about 0.75% to go, and we'll have hit our goal of 99% success. That's the number of fish that arrive alive to our customers, and I mean the percentage of fish that thrive for our customers, all wrapped up in that number. So I'm really happy with that. It's really nice when you have a week and things go well. You might have noticed some new residents behind me here. So what we have are Melanotania sexlineata from Tabubel. That's the pink lip rainbow. It's a dwarf rainbow. These are full grown at just under 3 inches. Along with the Tetra, you almost never see these guys. They're the 4-spot Tetra, kind of related to the splash Tetra, but not a splash Tetra, different genus. Really cool fish though. Now these were just put in here yesterday afternoon, so they still need to settle in and color up. They were looking really nice in the tanks that they'd been in long term, so I think that by next week they'll probably be fired up and we can really enjoy them for a week or two, and then we'll switch it out and put something else cool in there. So that's what's going on in that aquarium for those that might want to know. All right, let's talk about the giveaway. So the giveaway for tonight is here. So if you go to the YouTube channel, right, you'd land here. But if you click on store, you can see the merch available for the month of April. It's this lineup here. And here's the first one. This is a hoodie. And I love this design. Here's a t-shirt. By the way, it comes in different colors. If purple's not your jam, just click down here and you can get it in navy, black, or gray. But this is a stylized representation of a Congo Tetra. That's what that image is. And I love it. I love the gradient of the color on the kind of going from a light orange to a dark orange to a red here, the gradient on these blues. I think Becca just did a great job. So the giveaway for tonight will be one of these t-shirts. And in order to enter, you type in hashtag merchme in the chat, hashtag MERCHME. That's hashtag merchme. No spaces, caps don't matter. Entering multiple times doesn't help you, so let's not clog up the feed by doing that, please. But you do that, and we'll draw that later today. I love that, the Congo Tetra. So for those that, I'm sure most people know what a Congo Tetra is, but they're these beauties. They're really a stunning fish. The males have this kind of gold stripe down the middle with nice iridescent blue on the top of the bottom. And then they get these extensions on the fins, the dorsal and the caudal fin. And what I like about them is, yeah, you can see it clearly here, this thin white margin that they get outlining the fins. It just kind of sets them off. It's like when you create an image for a thumbnail or something and you want to make it really nice, you do that kind of margin so it pops. Really beautiful, amazing aquarium fish. One of the only fish, one of the only tetras from West Africa to have really become embedded in the hobby. These belong in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Naturally, that's their natural range. They come from the Congo River. And for some reason, these made it. These stuck. Whereas Many of these other species of Congo tetras, like this one, and this one, and let's see here, let's try a few. There's all kinds of really neat ones. I like Fantastique a lot. This one's really, really cool. Oh look, there's our picture of it. Not a great shot. They get prettier than that, but there you go. That shows the extension on it. And then there's Phenacogrammus, what's the gold one? Aurantiacus, from all different locations. So there's all these Congo tetras that are amazing, and for some reason, the only one that came and really got established in the hobby was the Congo tetra, and I don't really know why. That's a story I would like to discover. There is one other Congo tetra that's somewhat, it's a different genus, but it's somewhat available, and it's the yellowtail Congo tetra. These are very pretty fish. Filaments on the dorsal and the anal fin, and then a nice yellow tail with a dark line down the center. I like them a lot. But they're not as common. So I'd say the only one really... Oh, here's our picture. Yeah, see those kind of white borders and filaments, and then the yellow with the black line down the tail? But for some reason, the only one that became mainstream in the aquarium hobby and the industry is the Congo tetra. I don't know why. Now let me tell you about this tetra. They are fairly easy, I would say. The literature says be careful with water parameters and all that, but of course that's just standard for any fish, right? You want to keep the water clean, keep them happy. They get fairly good sized. I've seen these guys at about 4 inches if you count the long filament on the tail of the male. This was in a 500-gallon that was in the lobby of Studio City Animal Hospital down on Ventura Boulevard, where I used to work. There was a 500-gallon tank in the lobby, and because that tank was so big, those tetras got massive. So about 4 inches with that filament on the end of the tail for the male. So it's a good-sized tetra, but it is peaceful. They display among themselves a little bit and things, but they're pretty much as peaceful as any other standard tetra would be. So, large fish, peaceful, fairly hardy, really colorful, makes a great dither fish for larger peaceful fish, such as I'm thinking of things like your different pelvic acromis species, Wallace acromis species, maybe your Nanocromis species, those West African riverine cichlids that can be a little bit shy. I think this would be the Congo tetra would be a great dither fish for them that wouldn't feel like a dither, it would feel like a feature in the aquarium. Often we think of dither fish as like this thing you kind of need in the tank, but these would be an integral part of the tank for sure. So, as far as care goes, they eat everything. I've never had a problem with them. Temperature range, 75 to 82, I would say. We keep ours at 79 degrees without any problem. They do take a little while to grow into that nice big male. When they're young, I would say at about 2 inches, they really start coming into their own. Anything smaller than that, they're going to maybe have a little bit of color, but it's mostly going to be a silver fish. And females are much plainer than the males. They don't get that white border on the fins, and they don't get all the extended filaments and all the blue. So pretty much a brown silver fish, the females. So that's the Congo tetra. That was the inspiration when Becca and I were talking about what kind of tetra to do. It's got that neat outline, right, with the trident tail. It's something that we can all recognize, so that's what we went for. And I really like the results there. I think she did a fantastic job. So that's why we're doing the Congo tetra, and that's a little bit about them for those that might not know. I'm assuming everyone here probably knows about that tetra, but if you don't, they're a good one to get to know. Okay, The other thing that I want to talk about before we get to your questions and comments is this. I got some really good fish in the last import. And by the way, the fish came in amazing. We had such a high survival rate. We've been working with our suppliers, and we found some suppliers that really care and are willing to do things and work with us to try to get the fish to us in good shape. And it's starting to pay off. This last import came in amazing. And something that's really nice for me is we were able to hire a driver. So I didn't have to make the trip to Denver. Although I kind of wanted to go down because I wanted to see Geek Boy and buy all his peacock gudgeons that he had raised up. But we were able to hire someone so I didn't have to make the trip. I'll get down there another time, Geek Boy. But one of the fish we got in there I have never seen before. So let's play Guess That Fish. I'm going to throw it up over here. Hang on, let me size this so that it makes sense. I'm wondering if anyone can tell me what they think this fish is. Grab the corner, drag it over. Oh, and then I have to scoot it up a bit because I literally have the title of this fish. Hang on, how do I do that? Oh man, I don't think it's gonna let me. Oh, how do I do this without showing the title? I have the name of the fish on the picture, and it's not like letting me drag it off to where you can't see that. Oh, there we go. I got it. Okay, just a moment. This will be worth it, I promise. Worth the wait. For everyone listening on the podcast, I'm sorry, this is definitely a visual part, but anytime we can bring in a new fish that I've never seen before, I think that's cool, and I want to share that with folks. Oh, shoot, now it's not doing it again. Hang on, I'm just trying to get the header off the screen. Oh, come on, please. This is not going to be fun if it's... Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Sorry, one more moment. I'm going to copy this image and I'm going to call it something else. I'm going to rename it Mystery Fish, or Guess That Fish. We'll call it Guess That Fish. Okay, there we go. Now, Guess That Fish. Gotta find it now. There it is. Okay, sorry, that took a little more time than it had any right to, but I think this will be fun. Perfect, and here we are. Sorry, I didn't realize that I couldn't do this without showing the name. Okay, here's the fish. Any ideas what that is? I love that shot. It looks like something out of Fantasia, right? That Disney animated, super trippy, no words, just music film. It's like something out of Fantasia. Got some guesses for bettas. Yep, got a guess about a molly, a crib betta, a guppy, a bettakilly mix, fancy guppy, albino koi betta. Someone thinks it might be a barb, platinum dumbo betta, guppy, cauliflower swordtail, goldfish, a farowella. All right, now we slipped from the sublime to the ridiculous. And a pisto. All right, well, I'm going to answer this by showing you a different view of this fish, I think, is the way we'll do that. So here, there you go. That's the fish from the side. This is a swordtail, believe it or not. This is a veil tail swordtail. I'd never seen this in person before, and they're blowing my mind. Look at these things. Now, I didn't know when I ordered it, I didn't know what to expect. My fear was that it was going to be kind of like a lyre tail swordtail, and I don't like lyre tail swordtails a lot. I haven't seen any really good ones. I'm sure they're out there, but most of the ones that I've seen are like, yeah, not my cup of tea. But these blow my mind. The first thing I thought when I saw them is Fantasia, like that scene where they're showing the goldfish or the koi with the long flowing tails. So a little bit about those. According to my supplier, only the females have the fantail. So it's an albino pineapple veil-tail sword is what that is. The males look quite different. They look like this. According to my supplier, this is the male. The males don't get the long veil. Until I get better information, I'm just going to trust them about that. It doesn't make sense to me, but I don't know live bearer genetics all that well. I don't know all the morphs, but really pretty too, though. Nice high fin. I guess there's a little extension on the tail fin, maybe, if you look at how far that extends out on the sword there. Maybe that caudal fin's got a little bit of an extension to it, but that's the male. And then we also brought in some that are not veil tail. Let me show you one of those females. So there you go. That's an albino pineapple high fin female without the veil trait. So I'm really excited about these. These are fish that I've never seen before. And the other one that we brought in, and it seems to be doing well and is ready for sale, is a platy. You're like, platy? Yeah, wait till you see this thing though. Here we go. Look at this. These are the sunrise platies with the high fin trait. And it's not like that Variatus trait where it's kind of thin. This is a nice thick dorsal. So this I think is maculatus still, and the line's just been worked really hard to get that veil, that dorsal nice and full and beautiful. And here's what the females look like. The females look, there's a little extension, but they look similar to fairly similar to what you'd expect from a normal platy, I would say. Okay, let me get out of these. So those are some of the fish we got in, and they're doing good. We got in some other things too. I can't show you everything, but the new import will be available later this week. I think tomorrow most of it will be listed because it's doing really, really well. So that is something that I was really excited about. Anytime I can see a fish I've never seen before, it just kind of makes my day. There is a Tetra I was able to bring in that I've been looking for a long time. I've ordered, I want to say 20 times. It's never arrived. It finally arrived, and these are aquarium bred and raised, so they aren't emaciated. They don't have all the issues that you can have with wild collected Tetras. And here they are. I think I talked about them briefly last week. These are the black Morpho Tetra, Weitzmanni, Sicyopterus Weitzmanni. Nice blue speckles down the body. And these aren't displaying, they're not in breeding color. You'll find pictures online of them in full color and full display, and they'll really blow your mind. These are just everyday dress. You know, this is when I took this picture when I had these fish for about a week, so they were still settling in. That was not quite in focus, but at least you get a sense of the pattern and the color. One of the reasons this fish is so interesting to me is it's a Tetra, but it does not scatter its eggs. Most Tetras, they spawn, they eat the eggs if they can. They're not great parents. When you eat your babies, yeah, that's a little point against you as a parent, right? And they don't take care of the eggs or anything. This Tetra does. It finds a little cave. They spawn in the cave. They stick the eggs to the side of the cave. And then the male guards them and fans them until they hatch and are free swimming, and then at that point they are on their own. But it's kind of like halfway to cichlid behavior, which is fascinating. There's only a few tetras that do that. The majority just scatter their eggs and count on the rule of numbers, right? If I throw 5 billion eggs out there, some of them are going to hatch and grow into adults. Whereas these are like, nope, we're going to do a lot less eggs, but we're going to take care of them. So I have not yet spawned that fish, but it's one that at some point in my life, I don't know if I'll be able to do it right now. I'm pretty tied up scaling this business up, just getting operations, keeping up with operations and everything we have to do to keep rolling here. But at some point I want to breed that fish. I want to breed the black Morpho Tetra and experience that behavior. Yeah. Okay, so that's what's going on here. Those are the things that I'm kind of excited about. And a whole bunch of interesting species will drop tomorrow, including some more of the eels. We have some more dwarf red-tailed eels that will be released tomorrow for those that missed out. I know a lot of people message us saying, do you have any more? I missed out on them. And so if that was you, yes, we have some more and they will be listed tomorrow. And I'm sorry about that. I wish I could get enough to satisfy everyone that wants them, but they're hard to get a hold of. And I try every time, but the breeder just doesn't always have them, right? They don't produce that many. So numbers are kind of limited. But we do have some more we can sell. So we should be able to take care of some people. All right, with that, I want to thank my moderators for being here, doing what they do every week. Who we got here? Chevy Fish, thank you. Killers Aquatics and Reptiles, hey Bob, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Myrtle Singh, welcome back, Myrtle. Is there any other mod that I missed? Stephen P's here. Although, I mean, so Stephen and Bex have a wrench, but honestly, my intention wasn't to make them mods. I don't want to give them more work. Stephen and Becca are helping with editing the videos and creating the thumbnails, and Becca makes the merch and stuff. But in order to do that, they get mod power as well. So Stephen and Becca, don't feel like you have to do any extra work. Relax, enjoy the stream. Don't feel like you have to moderate, please. Johnny, hey, good to see you, Johnny. And I think that's all I see here right now. So thanks for being here, folks. And if I missed someone, there might be more mods that are here that I'm not seeing. Then thanks as well, and sorry I missed you. All right, we have some super chats that we should get to. Eric Y. Rock, why not? The Coast A Tetra and Red Lizard Whiptails came in amazing shape. They're doing amazing. Awesome. Well, that's what we try to do. So when it works out, we're glad to hear it. 98.24% of the time over the last 12 months, that's going to be what happens. And if we just take 2022, then it's more like 99% of the time. Spinster Sister, hey Spinster, good to hear from you. My blue coral calico platies came in great. Loving their heated tank. I'm glad that you were finally able to get some. I really hope we were able to get you some females, because if I remember right, that's what you were looking for. So hopefully we did. But I'm glad to hear that. Waitlist for 7 Veil Swords, please. Yeah, I don't think we built that listing yet, because that's a brand new fish to us. But Johnny will start working on that tomorrow. So they might be listed tomorrow, or it could be the next day before he can get that one up. I'm not sure which ones he's going to do first, and he's got a lot to list, because we got a lot of really cool, neat stuff in. I should warn you, though, those Veiltail Swordtails are not cheap. I think they're the most expensive live bearer I've ever bought. They cost us a pretty penny for sure. All right, with that, let's see what's going up in your neck of the woods. I'm going to get to questions and comments here. The first one I see is Geek Boy. I can try to hijack the van on one of his trips and hide my gudgeons in the back. Yeah. Or come on, at some point, you and Stephanie should come on up. Come see the warehouse. I think it's worth a trip, and I'd love to show it to you. Maybe I could get the peacock gudgeons at the same time. But also, I'll be back in Denver again at some point. I'm not quite sure when. There was some buzz that maybe I'd be giving a talk there at some point or something, so I'll get down there. By the way, if you're in Southern California, I will be speaking at Coast, the fish club down there in Southern California, in August. So at your August meeting, I'll be there And if you're going to the Keystones Clash, then I'll be speaking there as well. And I believe the topic for Coast is on shipping fish, so that's like my mission, get people to ship fish better. So I'm going to go there and stump for that. Scrolling down, and there we go. Hal's Fish. Hello, Hal. Thanks for joining us. Any idea when you'll get zebra loaches back in, and how about Sicyopterus? So I don't have any zebra loaches on order right now. I think we have one left. I don't know if it's back in inventory yet. So we sold all the fish out of that tank, and then just a couple days ago I was in there and I saw one more. So I think we have one more that we can get out of there. So I think I have one left unless it's already sold. Johnny can tell you better about that than I can. But yes, next time I see the zebra loaches available, I will be bringing them in. And I'm dipping my toe into Hillstream loaches. So there is a supplier I've been communicating with. I should thank Samuel for helping me with this. And Johnny as well. Johnny's been helping with this. So I get hit up by suppliers all the time. I get industry people contact me all the time wanting me to buy their stuff. And I've got to the point where I weed them out pretty quickly. And with just a little due diligence, I can almost always tell that it's just another industry supplier that does things the way this industry's done things forever, right? It's just, and so I pass. But recently, Johnny and Samuel helped me find one. And I've been going back and forth with this person, and they seem like they're worth a shot. They do a lot of Hillstream loaches. They do a lot of stuff that is hard to find anywhere else. And they're a fan of this channel. They know us. They know what we stand for. And they kind of are in the same boat. So they do a 2-week quarantine. They treat the fish. They fatten the fish up before they send them to us. They've told me about their quarantine process. They've told me about what they do. And it sounds like right on mission with what we're doing. And so I'm going to try them. It won't be until, late April, I think, mid to late April when that happens. And we're just doing a small little import to start, just to test, to make sure that it really is as good as it sounds. And I do know someone that has imported fish from this person, and I trust their opinion. They're a knowledgeable person, and they've had good luck. And they said they know how to bag them. They're doing things right. I've talked with the owner of this fish farm that I would be buying these from, and he seems very knowledgeable. It seems like he cares. He explained the whole process to me. So I'm going to try it. And so if that goes well, we'll have some mind-blowing fish, some Hillstream loaches that I've never seen before. And if that first little toe dip in the water goes well, then we'll do a larger order. And if that goes well and the supplier really is doing what they say they're going to do, then I'm going to do a much larger order. And I should be able to provide steadily some very nice Hillstream loaches and some other fish that I'm not going to get in too deep right now into the other things. But how zebra loaches are one I was talking about zebra Hillstream loaches. You're just asking about zebra loaches. My mind went to Hillstream when I read that. It put Hillstream in between zebra and loaches. So I'm not answering your question at all. I am sorry. I'm so bad at my job some days. Hal, poor Hal. He's sitting there. I apologize, Hal. None of that was about zebra loaches. It was about zebra hill stream loaches. Anyway, to actually answer your question, now that my brain understands it as it was written, I have not seen zebra loaches on the lists for quite a while. I don't know if it's because they're seasonal or what's going on, but every time I see them, as long as they're from a supplier that I know does a good job, and I don't already have a bunch in stock, then I always order that fish. It's one of my favorites. So that's one I want to keep in stock. I just think it's an ideal. Oh, I got to show people this fish. Not everyone knows this fish, so these guys. This is a zebra loach, and it has this amazing thin stripy pattern, yellow on gray and black, and they only get about 4 inches or so. And so I think, oh, look at this, that's a full adult right there. So I think that this is the fish that in general we should be keeping instead of this one. I love clown loaches, but most people that keep them do not have adequate space for them. I say that because they get big, 16 inches, and like fat like a football. These are big fish. Not only do they get big, but they're really only happy in groups. This is a very sociable fish. It wants to be in big, big groups. So this industry brings lots of these fish in every year. Millions, I would say, because they're one of the most popular fish. Because look at it. When they're young, they're this beautiful bright yellow and black. I mean, what's not to like? However, when they get older, that fades. They turn into more like a brown. Let's see if I can find a really old. Here we go. I mean, it's still a cool fish, but it's not bright yellow and black anymore. It kind of turns into this more subdued fish. The patterns kind of merge. Here you go. There's a good comparison. So the fact that they don't hold their color that well, which is fine. They're still cool fish, and they have great personalities. It's nothing against the fish. It's just the fact that we usually don't have adequate setups for them. So to get massive, they need to be in big groups. So you're talking about lots of big fish together in one tank. You need a massive tank for these guys long term. And they live forever, very long-lived fish. So in order to really keep them properly, in order to really keep them happy, you have to have all that space, a kind of a special setup for them. And I know that the vast majority of them are not getting that. Like, the vast majority are being bought when they're 2 inches, and they're not being upgraded properly. I just know that's a fact. Just like a common pleco or something like that, or a pacu, or any of the other problem fish. So love the fish, not the fish's fault. But what I think could solve that problem is if we kept zebra loaches instead, because they only get 4 inches. Besides that, it's kind of the same. They like to be in groups. They're gregarious fish. They're peaceful. I mean, they'll spar and all that like clown loaches and any other fish almost will. But they're like a clown loach that is manageable. Now, they're not the same color, but of all the kind of loaches in that kind of general that are peaceful, that stay small, and all that, I think their color pattern is one of the most pleasing. Now, there are some others that are really pretty, like skunk loaches and red-tailed loaches and stuff, but those are really aggressive. So I'm only talking about the ones that are peaceful. Peaceful like a clown loach. So anyway, that's my thought on clown loaches. I love them. I get them anytime I can. And Sicyopterus. So the problem with Sicyopterus, I like them as well. There's lots of different species of these, and there's some really nice ones. There's a couple issues with them. One is they don't sell very well. Like, look at that, with that kind of cockatoo fin. Every time we get them, we tend to just sit on them for a long time. And so it doesn't make sense for us to do that as a business. Here's another one, look at this. Pretty nice fish, nice extensions, reddish tail. You can kind of see a little bit of the iridescence here. What everyone wants is this. The problem is Sicyopterus don't look like this unless they're like actively spawning. So almost all the time, they're going to look like this instead. That's what I've found. Now, I've seen them start coloring up, but it's temporary. It doesn't last. And so that's what I think kind of the issues are with Sicyopterus. They don't move for us, and everyone wants that pretty picture, and the truth is they're probably going to be disappointed. So we kind of stay away from them. Great fish, though. I really like them. Survival of the fishiest. Feeding the multi-tank syndrome disorder, one fish at a time. Yes, we're here. MTS. We are the enabler. I'm the guy on the street corner. You know, I got my trench coat. What do you want? I open it up. It's got watches on this side, and I don't know, something highly addictive on the other. Fish. Your friendly neighborhood fish dealer. Aquatic Moose, selection is looking great. Thanks for working so hard to give us all the options. Hey, Aquatic Moose, you're welcome, and I hope you're doing well, man. It was good to meet you a few weeks ago. Did you guys get, like, absolutely hammered with this storm, or did it miss you? Like, Wyoming was shut down again yesterday. There's so much snow. It's been crazy. Chris Resker, will you give members a heads up tomorrow when the new arrivals go live on the site? Yeah, we will. We'll do that. Yes. Johnny, remind me, would you? It's probably going to start in the morning and go from there. It's not, I don't think it's like, so when we add things to the website, we create a listing and then we make it go live. There's not this thing where we can create all the listings and then push a button and they all go live at once. So we can kind of tell you as we're doing it. But yes, Chris, I want to do that. We have a plan for like adding a lot of value to the memberships, something that will be really cool. But in the meantime, as that's getting coded and built out and all that, then that is something I want to do, is give you guys a heads up when something cool is available. Spoiled Sushi, are dwarf red-tailed eels safe for mystery snails, or will they prey on them? I've never kept them with mystery snails, but they absolutely wipe out ram's horn snails and pond snails. You'll see them, like, they'll pick up the snail and carry it around. I assume in the wild that snails is a big part of their diet. Their snout is perfectly shaped to go into the snail shell and suck it out. And so when we watch them, they'll go grab a snail, stick their snout inside, and literally carry it around the tank as they suck it out. And after a few days, there's this pile of empty snail shells, and they clean it out so thoroughly that you can literally see through the shell almost. And we have hard water. It's not like these snails have like these tiny little delicate shells. But somehow, some part of, I don't know if the fish is like, maybe it has a saliva that dissolves the inside of the shell a little bit. I don't know, but it's like, it's transparent. They're very good at eating snails. So I would not keep them with mystery snails, although I haven't tried it. But based on my experience with other snails, I think that they would dine on them with delight. Ira Nelson, I have babies in the rosy minnow tank, and another clutch of eggs were laid last night. It's the second clutch of eggs in 3 weeks. Awesome. Are these the fathead minnow, but the rosy version of that? Is that the one you're referring to? That's a neat native fish to breed, if so. Another like little cave spawner. Scrolling up because chat jumped on me. Here we go, and there it is. Jacob Metzner. What are your thoughts on Odessa barbs, and do you carry them? I love Odessa barbs. I think they're fantastic, and yes, we carry them. We should have some listed tomorrow. Let me show you a picture of an Odessa barb that I was able to get. So look at these. This isn't even as good as they get either. That red there with against the dark body, lemon yellow on the fin, really dark fins down here. It's just a nice high contrast fish. Bright red, dark on top. Look at the yellow on that fin. I mean, these aren't great pictures, but Odessa barbs are fantastic. Now, they're definitely rambunctious. I wouldn't keep them with anything that's slow to food because they will absolutely... They mob the food so thoroughly that they create a tornado. They literally create like a weather event in your aquarium. So you have to be careful what you keep with them because they'll outcompete other fish for food. I used to keep them with Corydoras, and my strategy was after the lights go out at night, so I'd feed the Odessa barbs during the day, and then at night after the lights went out, I would feed all the Corys, thinking, all right, the Corys can't compete with the barbs during the day, but at night they'll get the food. Well, the Corys weren't gaining weight, and I couldn't figure out why, because the food was always gone the next day. And so one night I fed them, and then I left for a couple minutes, and I came back with a light and flicked it on to look real quick at what was happening. A swarm of Odessa barbs was eating the food, even at night with no light. And that's what I realized, that barbs are named that because of their barbels, and their barbels are a sensory organ. So barbs and cyprinids in general, not all of them, but a lot of them, don't have any trouble finding their food at night. So that was a lesson to me on what not to keep with cyprinids, especially barbs like that. I had a similar experience with roseline barbs. Same thing. They'll find the food at night without any problem. So yeah, just be careful what you keep them with. But I love a nice big group of them. I think they're one of the prettiest sights in the world is a big group of Odessa barbs when they're colored up. And by the way, once the males settle in, they'll color up, and they generally stay colored up pretty well. So I think they're amazing. Orange cones. Guess what? I have a box coming with heat packs and bags next week. FIY. Awesome. Looks like I'm finally going to get some of Orange Cone's famous Farwellas. I've been wanting those for a while. That sounds awesome. Geek boy. I'm going to stow away in Beck's car when she and Kyle head up there. All right. Whatever you got. I mean, you don't even have to like be sneaky about it, man. You can just come. I think Geek Boy's like, nah, I can be sneaky for the thrills. Aquatic Moose. In chat, does anyone know of anyone spawning pea puffers? Oh, Dancefish in chat. Does anyone know of anyone spawning pea puffers with any real success? I don't. I know the industry's kind of figured them out, but I'm assuming they probably use hormones for breeding. A lot of these fish are bred in the industry using hormones. But as far as like hobbyist style, I know some people have bred them, but repeatedly and raising large numbers, I don't know of anyone doing that. So, yeah, chat, does anyone here know of anyone doing that? Jeannie V, do you have Farwella? I don't yet, but I hope to soon from Orange Cones. Michigan Fish again. Breeding 5 of 7 Cory species. However, bought CW10 1.5 years ago. One dies every 1 to 3 months down to 3. Turned gray 1 to 2 weeks prior to dying. Varied diet. Any thoughts? 74 degrees, 7.2 pH. I don't know exactly what it could be, Michigan Fish again, except for to tell you that I've had the same experience, not just with CW10s, but with several species of Corys. And I think it has to be a supply chain issue. Because if I switch up my suppliers, as I've switched up my suppliers over the years, I found 2 at this point that have healthy CW10s that don't do that. So I don't know what it is, but I'm pretty sure it's something from the supply chain. In fact, there was a long time when I didn't bring any Corys in anymore because I was having such trouble. And it was that kind of thing. I'd bring them in, and sometimes there was a sign of something, an issue, and I could treat it. But often, just every once in a while, one would die. Often enough that I wasn't comfortable selling them. So there's literally been batches of Corys that I've never sold because They kept doing what you're talking about. But I can get the same fish from a different supplier and not have the problem. So it's got to be something in the supply chain somewhere. Not sure where you got yours or what the ultimate source for yours was, but I've had that experience. I'm not sure that it's the exact same thing that's going on with yours, but that's a frequent issue that I've experienced many times as I've gradually tried to find a good supplier of quarries. Found a couple that do a better job, but it seems to be pretty normal. How's fish? I enjoyed every minute regardless. Thanks. I will enthusiastically answer your question, but not answer your question. That's my superpower. All right, scrolling down, and we've got Lady Rorschach. I have to give gobies a try someday. They just look utterly delightful. They are. Best choice for beginner in gobies. Dancefish, thank you very much. There's a lot of great gobies out there, but I think the one that I would go to if it was my first one is, I've got a picture on the website here, the neon goby. Neon blue goby. These guys. Why? Because they're very pretty, they're hardy, and they're not horribly expensive. So for a first goby, I think those are all good things. It's here next to a tiger goby. I wouldn't get those for your first one. I'd get a little bit of experience first, but they are pretty cool. But I mean, this is just an easy fish to love. And by the way, the camera isn't picking up the true power of this. This is like a neon sign, this blue. It's absolutely stunning. And this is what they look like when they first come in and they're not colored up yet. Once they settle in fully, then they darken up and get that nice neon stripe. They are a grazer, so they need time to eat their food. They're a stiphodon. Stiphodons are kind of like plecos in that they rasp their food. And as long as they're with fish that allow them to do that, they'll do great. So that would be my suggestion for a first goby. Actually, almost any stiphodon is a good one for a beginner, but the only reason I'm singling this one out is because it's not that expensive. And as you're learning, it's probably better to learn on a fish that isn't that expensive, just in case there's an issue. Plus, they're just as pretty as almost any other stiphodon. Although Rudolarius and Aniae, man, I don't know if anything is as pretty as those. Those are amazing. Okay, scrolling up here, getting to chat, just a moment. There we are. Spinster Sister, do you hold the fish in mixed sex tanks so there's a chance that my females may be pregnant? That one we did put in mixed sexed, yes. Now, even if we didn't, they're already pregnant anyway, because even if we don't put the females with the males, when we get those, they're already adults and they've been with males at some point in their life, and platies and guppies and mollies and such hold sperm. So the female can mate with the male once and drop babies for up to, I don't know, is it 6 months or something after that event? I don't know the actual timeline. Could be longer, could be less, I'm not sure. But the point is, she only has to breed once and then she'll have babies for a long time. Ira Nelson, yes, talking about the rosy variant of the fathead minnow. And I wasn't planning to breed them, it was their idea. The eggs are placed on the side of the driftwood in the tank. Yeah. Yeah, cool. I mean, it's springtime. Well, supposedly, I mean, it's snow outside, but according to the calendar, it's springtime, so not real surprised they're breeding. Jacob Messner, what's the skinny on the CW111? I don't have a skinny on it. I had one opportunity to buy that fish from someone, but at the price they wanted to sell me the fish for, I would have had to have sold that fish for over $2,000 a piece. Like, the person wasn't realistic in their price. The price he wanted to charge me for them was more than people were buying them, you know, on the consumer side. So So that obviously didn't work out. But I've never seen that fish available in a form that made sense to buy it. I would love to, but I wouldn't want to sell that to my customer for more than a couple $100 a piece. So I'd have to, get a decent price on it. But man, I wish I could. If one day I will bring in the CW111, but right now they're like rare as a hen's tooth, so they're not really out there in industry quantities. Okay, Orange Cone says, I know you've said that the lemon tetra and the orange lemon tetra are likely the same fish. I have 3 orange lemons with 9 lemons, and after 5 years, the orange lemons are 20% larger. Oh, that's interesting. Now, that might have changed. I don't remember for sure, but did someone... For some reason, my mind wants to say that recently the orange Bolivian lemon tetra was described as a new species, or maybe not described yet, but is now thought to be a new species. But I can't remember that for sure. And if that is the case, that's very recently that's happened. So, going off memory like that's bad. And it was like a comment in a live stream, so it's not like I read a scholarly article that I can pull up and reference or anything. So, yeah. Matt M., do you have a good supplier out of India? Just curious if there are a lot of cool fish, as there are a lot of cool fish from India, some common and some rare in the U.S. I do have a supplier out of India, and I do get some things from there, but I have to be pretty selective about what I get. So I don't get a lot out of India right now. Michael, where is it? Fowler. Will the gobies eat black beard algae? Well, there's thousands of different kinds of gobies. If you're asking about the Stiphodon gobies, like the neon blue goby, they will eat algae, but I don't think they're going to eat black beard algae. They'll eat like soft diatom algae. Something that Notocinclus would eat, they'll probably eat. But no, they kind of graze biofilm and diatom algae and things like that. But they don't eat anything that like has height. Whale. So like corduroy pants, the part of the corduroy that sticks up, that's the whale, right? It raises above the base of the material. So the things you learn as a theater professor when you have to take costuming classes and teach costume classes for theater. Anyway, if it's like a flat, soft algae on a surface, they'll graze on it, but I don't think they'll eat blackbeard. Scuds will, just saying. Caitlin DeRosier, maybe? Saw a spotted Congo at the the co-op today. Hang on. This is just getting silly. Reading's hard. I need a drink and then I can read this. Okay. Saw a spotted Congo at the co-op today. So for those that don't know, we're probably talking about Aquarium Co-op in the vicinity of Seattle, Washington, up in Edmonds. It looked pretty healthy, but nearly as fat and sassy as the one I got from you. Thanks for all your hard work rehabbing him. He's thriving. Did I read that wrong? It looked pretty healthy, but nearly as fat and sassy as the one I got from you. Well, I'm not sure exactly what that middle sentence is trying to say, but I'm glad the one you got from us is thriving. I'm glad he's doing well. There is one customer that reached out today who got a Congo spotted puffer, I believe, from us a few weeks ago, and the fish has diarrhea now, like an empty fecal casing, and so that's the only problem I'm aware of that anyone's had with any of our spotted Congo puffers for, 6 months. I could be forgetting something, but in general, the batch was doing great. I mean, it took a lot of time and care, but we got them fat and sassy. So I'm hoping we can turn around just that one. Like, if we could be 100% on those, that would be awesome. Metal fish. Hey, how about getting a few tanks of scuds going now that you have tackled selling plants? So we do have some scud tanks, but we also have a lot of puffers and a lot of other fish that love to eat scuds. So occasionally we get enough to sell, but usually we are only able to produce enough for our own needs. I mean, we have between 450 and 500 active aquariums right now in the warehouse, I would say. Something like that. And so we've got a lot of fish to feed. We can go through a lot of scuds. Daniel McNamara, do you know the story with CW110, the gold laser, versus CW23, the gold stripe cories? I have a couple sold to me as CW23s and was looking for more, but some say CW23s aren't a real distinct type. So Daniel, I can't help you, but I know who can. If you go to corridorsworld.com.net, I haven't gone over there in a little while. I think it's .com. This is Ian Fuller's website. Yeah, here it is. This is where the world experts on corridors hang out. And they have a lot of articles and write-ups and things on specific species and locations of cories. So I would check it out there. But I don't know that much about 23 versus 10, no. Killers Aquatics and Reptiles throwing down a Pippi. Just for fun, because it's not time for me to end the stream yet. Sometimes Bob throws down a super chat to remind me to wrap the stream up, because he knows that I'll get lost in the fun of talking to y'all, and time will fly by and I won't realize it's time to end the stream. But this time, it was just for funsies. Thank you, Killers Aquatics and Reptiles. I appreciate it. And thanks for getting Pippi out to a little pep in our night. Mountaintop Puffer Keeper, been a member for 8 months. Thanks so much, Matthew. Dan's fished the Spotted Congo first batch, ended up at 30 plus F1 fry. It's going strong on paramecium feedings at day 12. So far, so good. That's amazing. That's amazing. 30's not bad. Like, that's a real batch. 30's worth it. Yeah, for sure. I'm glad to hear that, Matthew. If you're able to breed enough that I can be supplied by a puffer breeder here in the United States and the fish don't have to go through all the rigors of import and everything, that would be amazing. That would be like the next step in humane puffer acquisition, I guess. That's great news. Colby Star, shell dwellers for a 10-gallon tank, and are you getting any in anytime soon? So I would go with Multifasciatus or Similis. I'd probably stay away from... I mean, some of the others are so mean that I think you could have issues. But the Multifasciatus are... I mean, they're still shell dwellers. They're still, you know... assertive little fish, let's put it that way, with teeth. But the fact that they're a community spawner and the older generation won't eat the younger generation, they'll help raise them up, I think gives you more chances of success of having them and watching their full range of behavior and spawning and the babies tending the younger babies and all that in a 10-gallon than you would have with some other fish. Now, you could get a pair of brevis or something like that and put them in there and it could be fine, but if one of the brevis goes aggro on the other in a 10-gallon tank, it will kill it. Like, that's a small enough tank that death will occur in that case. Now, that case might not occur, but they might not do that, but they do sometimes do that. Whereas I think Multifasciatus, you could get a few in there and start raising them up, and it would be more likely to have success. Ideally, I think a 3-foot aquarium footprint is better for shell dwellers, just because if you get a dominant male, he's going to really harass any other males in that tank in a 10-gallon. But if you get a dominant male in a 3-foot tank, like a 20 long or something, then a subdominant male can get away far enough to establish his own little area. Now, you can probably only get 2 dominant males, maybe 3 in a tank like that, and the other males might, at points, hate life and need to be separated or something. But I think it can still happen in a 10-gallon, but that's the challenge you'll run into, I think. Welcome to Corduroy 101 with Dan's Fish. I know, the tangents. I will say this for myself. If I do get in a non-fish related tangent, I wrap it up pretty quick. I don't stay there long. But yeah, my mind's full of useless information. Jacob Metzner, how do suppliers get started? What opportunities exist on that side of the business, and how do you find out who is already out there? I mean, I think it'd be very difficult to learn that side of the business without working in the business. I think that's how you learn that side of the business. Suppliers, the supply side of this industry simply doesn't want to interact with anyone that's not in the business. I think they just get hit up all the time by people that want to bring in a few fish or something, and their business model doesn't work that way. They need to do a large import. They need to ship thousands of fish, 900 kilograms of fish in order, I'm making that number up, but you get the point. Large numbers in order for their business model to work. And so unless you're doing that or working for a company that's doing that, they're probably not going to talk to you. So what I would say is, if that's a side of the business you're interested in learning, I would go get a job on the supply side and learn that way. I honestly think that's the way to do it, because then working for them, you'll get to know the suppliers, and if you ever decide, hey, I see how I could do this better, I see how I could do this more humanely, I see where the problems are, then you'd already have the relationships to branch off and make the difference you want to make. And if you're not going to make a difference, then we really don't need you. Like, there's plenty of bad suppliers in this business already. So unless you're going to really step up and try to improve things, then honestly, I don't know why. And I'm not saying you're not, but I honestly don't know why even bother. Yeah. Oh, chat jumpity jumped on me again. Hang on, I'm going. Scrolling down. There we are. Dragon Lair. Hey, Patrick. It's warmed up here. Going to set up a tank outside to rehab your bucket of Java moss. Thanks, Dragon Lair. Appreciate it. Lucky you, it's warming up. Man, still snowing here. Mega Mindy, although it's supposed to warm up like next Monday when the import comes in, our new import comes in, it's going to be 50 degrees around here, which is like, that hasn't happened in forever. So that's pretty exciting. Anyway, back to Mega Mindy Lou. Whew, did it. The Sunburst Platy and the Blue Coral Platies I got from you mixed. Now I have Blue Coral Platy with the Mickey Mouse tails. Yep. No, we just call that making your own strain. No. Caitlin DeRosier. Typo. Not nearly as fat and sassy as the one I got from you. Also, if I were to start breeding scuds, would he eventually outgrow them? Are they good forever size food? Yeah, I think a Congo spotted puffer will eat scuds for the duration of their life. That fish doesn't get very big as puffers go. And I think they'll always be interested in scuds. I think. I'm going to go with yes, with the caveat that I guess after 3.5 inches or so. See, the problem is that the puffers that we sent out over the last couple months, that's the biggest I've ever kept them. Generally when they come in, they're babies, because I try to get them from a gentleman that breeds them. So I get them as babies. This last batch, I couldn't find any babies. So I brought in some from the wild, and so they were that kind of larger size. I've never seen them larger than that size. So if they got much larger than that, I'm really not sure. But at that size, they'll definitely love scuds. And I would say you've got another inch or so at least before they lost interest. Orange cones. For the blind gold denison barbs, do you know if they breed true in passing down the blind defect? I have no idea, orange cones. I don't know. Nick Rector, would you ever get in the amphibian? Oh yeah, how do you say that? I know this animal. Sicilian worms, aka rubber eels. So yeah, it's like a worm that's an amphibian. I think they're just fascinating. Maybe I'm not gonna say never. I do think those are pretty cool, but I know almost nothing about them. So I mean, I know there's some that are terrestrial. I know there's some that are aquatic, and that's about all I know. So, but yeah, they're super cool. But I have no plans to get them anytime soon. But I'm not going to say never, because I was fascinated by those as a kid. I think they're really interesting. What kind of fish do you want? I have time and space to breed for you, says Brody's Bettas. I want killifish. I want blue gularis. I want chrome aphyosemians, like Aphyosemion bivitatum. Funge, that's an amazing one. Fundulopanchax emiatii. Any Fundulopanchax, really. Lots of different Aphyosemians. Striatum would be amazing. Ogoens would be amazing. I mean, almost any of them. Like, there's such a dearth of killifish availability. So, first one on my mind is killifish. I would love to buy killifish. And I do whenever I can, but usually I can't because no one breeds them in enough quantity to do anything besides, like, you know, share them at their local killifish club or something. So, yeah, killifish. That's what I'm looking for. I've been able to find a few people that breed killies, but mostly it's Fundulopanchax gardneri, which I love. It's my favorite fish probably, but it would be nice to be able to offer some of the other ones as well. And there's hundreds and hundreds of them. How many species of killifish are there? I don't know, but it's got to be over 500. How many species of killifish? Wow, I was way off. There are 1,270 species of killifish. I mean, and we've got access to, like, I don't know, gardneri, Norman's lamp eyes, maybe australi at points. I mean, those are really the only ones you kind of regularly find in the industry. And by regularly, I mean Norman's lamp eyes pretty regularly, but the others, not even all that regularly. There are a few suppliers that do have killifish for sale, but the prices are really high. Like, I'd have to sell them for like 60, 70 bucks a pair, and that's why I haven't brought them in. And then there's there's a couple other suppliers that do sell killifish, but they only sell males. And I don't think that they understand that what people want are pairs. So I haven't bought those either. Yeah. So please, killifish, hook a brother up. Pairs of killifish would be great. Okay, oh shoot, it just jumped. Wait, did I find it? No. Okay, hang on. I gotta scroll for a bit. And there, nope. There we are. Jeff Koski. Hello, Jeff. Thanks for hanging out. I set up a 14-gallon rimless cube as a river bottom tank with all natural stuff from the river, and now got some Thai microcrabs in it. Just got in the mail today. Well, that sounds really cool. I've never kept the microcrabs, but I bet in a tank that size all set up like that, that's plenty of space for them to roam. I hope they do really well for you. It's something I don't know much about, but I mean, I'm familiar with them, but I've never really kept them. In the near future, I'm wanting to get a bunch of CPDs and chili rasboras, looking at maybe 30 of each. Well, we can hook you up with that. We have figured out CPDs, we've figured out chili rasboras, we've figured out Pseudomuga aluminatus, and by figured out, what I mean is we know where to get them. We know which suppliers do a good job and treat them right. And we know which suppliers are going to send you emaciated fish that are barely holding on. And so CPDs and chili rasboras, we do really well with. We can help you with those for sure. Kelly Foreman, making my day by saying you're amazing. Thank you, Kelly, for the super chat. Much appreciated, never required, but it does help out a ton when money falls out of the computer screen onto our laps. We're just a little startup company. We're working on scaling this bad boy up, and every penny helps, and I mean that. Rye Guy Outdoors, what fish do you need for that study? Oh, so my sister, for lack of a better term, is getting a master's degree studying convict cichlids. I believe, though, that that's already been taken care of. There were several people that were like, please take them all. So I think that's been taken care of. Let me just double check with her real quick. I never do this because it's bad television to be like on your phone while the chat's going, but I think in order to answer your question fully, let me just ask. Okay, we'll see if I get a response before the end of the stream. I don't know, that's only about 18 minutes, but we'll see. Then I can answer that. But I think so. I put her in touch with someone that had some available. Oh, chat, you're the jumpiest today, which means I'm like super behind in the chat. How many people are here? 237 folks are here. Thanks for being here with us, folks. We appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind taking a moment to share this out to all your ex-lovers so we can get more people in the chat and make it really fun in there, that'd be appreciated. I'm sorry, chat jumped really far, so I'm scrolling here to find, I think I'm almost there. Yeah, here we go. And it's Brody's Bettas. Thanks for answering. I don't know what species you said, but I'm looking into some killifish now. Anything that's an Aphyosimian or a Fundulopanchax would be a great one to start with. Yeah. Boots, cats, boots, cats. Where did your mystery pencilfish come from? I think it was Peru, but it might have been Colombia. Johnny, do you happen to know? One of those, I believe. Orange Cones, if I was to set up the Pseudomuga aluminatus in a tank with tons of moss, what size tank do you think for 24 to see if we get some spawning? Well, you could keep 24 in a 10-gallon tank just fine, but I think if you want spawning, I would say if you can do like a 20 long, that would be a good start, because the more space for the babies to get away and stuff, the better. And in order for the babies to like survive in there, if you're trying to community spawn that fish, that's a difficult fish to community spawn, but if you were going to do it, you need like half the tank absolutely choked with moss, and not just on the bottom, because those baby fry are going to be right up at the top. So if you have a bunch of moss on the bottom, they'll still get eaten, because they'll hatch and swim right up to the top and hang out on the surface. So I think in a 3-foot tank half choked with moss and a bunch of, like from the bottom up to the top, like that would probably work. Or a whole bunch of moss on the bottom and then a whole bunch of like water sprite on the top over it with the roots coming way down and it's just choked. That might work. But the Luminatus are kind of famous for eating their eggs and their young, so you would need a lot of cover for that to happen. That's why I'm thinking a 3-foot long tank might give you better results than a 10-gallon tank, because they're probably more likely to eat them in a 10-gallon. The other thing you could do is separate the sexes, feed the females heavenly, feed them heavily to condition them, and then after a couple weeks, put them in like a 10-gallon or a 5.5-gallon. Let's see here. For 24, a 10-gallon. It's got a lot of breeding surfaces in it. Leave them in there for 2 or 3 days, and then take the adults out. Then you might be able to get enough babies surviving, something like that. Bob Purcell. For those listening on the podcast, sorry, I had to get a drink. Have you considered doing any brackish fish like mud skippers or different archers? Yeah, I like a lot of different brackish fish for sure, but the way my system works is we draw water from a local river, we clean it up, we flow it through the tanks, it flows out of the tanks, we clean it up, and we return it to the river. So it's a complete flow-through system. You can't really keep salinity in a system like that, and right now it doesn't make sense to make more work for me and the team by shutting off part of the system to make it salty. So yeah, it's just like we all work a lot and really hard, and yeah, there's plenty of times don't even get a day off, right? Try to get 1 day off a week, but often that doesn't even happen. So adding more work by creating a specialized system is just not going to happen right now. Maybe one day when we're at scale and we can figure out how to do that right, perhaps. But my experience with brackish water in the past, when I've worked at other fish stores and things, is that it's cool, but there's not a lot of market for it because it's kind of specialized. Candy's World. I have 6 Pseudomugo gudgeons for 3 weeks. Peacock gudgeons? I think you're saying you've had 6 peacock gudgeons for 3 weeks. Never seen the 2 males. They're on the second batch of eggs. Problem, females come out worse for wear. Damaged fins beat up. How can I help them? More cover or a larger tank. So I don't know what the tank is set up like, but if you have it set up with a lot of hardscape and a lot of plants and rocks and wood and all that to create all these little niches, these little territories, these line of sight blocks and such in the tank, then the females will be able to get away from the males and have cover. So I would say more of that or a larger tank or both would be the solution. But congrats on breeding them. That's pretty awesome. All right, it is 8:19. Oh yeah, Geek Boy. Yeah, Geek Boy says, I bred my peacock gudgeons in a very heavily planted 90-gallon tank. Yeah, I've seen that tank and I've seen the gudgeons in it, and there's no way those females are getting beat up. So many plants in there. That's a beautiful tank, Geek Boy. With that, I think we're going to go ahead and shut this down because I've reached the bottom of the chat. I know, I don't believe it either, but I have. So let's go ahead and do this giveaway. So this giveaway is for merch. This is this month's merch. It's only available during the month of April. This is a cool hoodie. And oh, look at what Bex did. So that's the back, right? And then the front, you just got this little thing. Little thing. I think it looks good. We'll be sending you a t-shirt like this. It doesn't have to be purple. It comes in different colors. You can see the colors down here. Navy, black, smoke gray, or purple. But this is the giveaway. A t-shirt. We currently have 149 folks entered, and the winner is Ronnie. Ronnie, you have won. You have 2 minutes to chime in. Let us know you're here. That means at 8:22, if you have not left a comment by 8:22, then you forfeit your winnings and we will draw someone else. So, well, it just turned 8:21, so we'll call it 8:23 for you. So take a minute to put some kind of comment in the chat to claim your winnings, and then we'll go from there. Congratulations, though, tentatively. All right, in the meantime, let's see. Man, I'm sorry to everyone whose questions and comments I didn't get to because the chat jumps so hard. So I'm scrolling up to see if there's one I can find. If it'll let me reach one that I missed earlier while we're waiting for the winner to chime in. Nope, I got all the ones I can see. Sorry about that. So if I missed it, I'm sorry. Okay, let's see. Ronnie is not chimed in yet. All right. Oh, yes, you have. There you are, Ronnie. Okay, Ronnie has now confirmed that they're here. So, Ronnie, you won. Please send an email to us. hello@dansfish.com is our email. Send an email to hello@dansfish.com. And we basically need your first name, your last name, and your mailing address so we can get that t-shirt made and sent off to you. So, that is that. Congrats. We're going to shut this down. Oh, before I do, though, for those wondering about Brenda, her tour was amazing. I got to go to one of the shows and listen to her sing, which is like one of the great joys of my life, just being blown away by what my wife's doing on stage. So her tour's over, but she's still recovering. It takes a lot to go on tour with the video production. So what she's doing is she is releasing for Easter Piano, My Voice and I, there we go, snippets from Handel's Messiah. So she did a professional production of Handel's Messiah recently. Professional, yeah, she was a hired professional for that. It was at a local college, but with a lot of professional musicians. And so if you would like to listen to that, that's already up there. It's not live, it's not a premiere or anything. It's just snippets from her singing. So you can get your fix of Brenda from now through Easter. I think every day or every other day or something she'll be releasing portions of her performance on Handel's Messiah, which is some of the most difficult music ever conceived of. It absolutely challenges the limits of the human voice, that music. Handel challenges people for sure. And so, yeah, you can hear her really at her peak difficulty handling some crazy music right now on her channel, if you're into that. With that, let's shut this down. Thanks to my moderators for being here and doing what they do. I know the job's not always pleasant. I know there's challenges. I know sometimes people act up and don't behave well. So I really appreciate you doing what you do. It's a huge help. Thanks for doing that for me. All the members, thanks for being a member. That little bit of income every month, that recurring revenue is hugely helpful. Plus, it's just nice to feel supported. It's amazing to me that people are like, yeah, this dude's doing enough that I think it's worth paying for a membership. So just thanks for that affirmation, I suppose. Everyone that threw money at us, thanks for the super chats. Always appreciated, never required, but it helps. Everyone who is lively in the chat, thanks for participating. If you weren't lively in the chat, hail the Lurker Nation. Appreciate you guys too. I'm a lurker myself, I get it. If you're listening to the podcast, thanks for listening. Oh, I forgot one thing. Podcast, just pretend I did not say that. If you're listening to the replay, hello from the past. And now if you're listening on the podcast, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. A bunch of new fish are going to start dropping on the website tomorrow, including those amazing veil tails, sword tails that I've never seen before. I think that'll be fun. Anyway, until next time, I sincerely hope you have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.